and welcome back to the program. You're watching Morning Thailand with Tulip and Golf. Now, of course, like I promised, there will be some report on floods. At this point, I believe that it's safe to say everybody knows Thailand is under a lot of flood water at this point everywhere. Good things that Bangkok,
heavy rain season.
Exactly, monsoon season, and Bangkok at this point has not seen that big of a deal yet. Obviously, ever since that big flood, we haven't seen that much because there's probably trying to, make sure that that didn't happen. But of course, one of the cases that we've seen quite often is the fact that in Pratakon Sri Ayutthaya province, which is the province where a lot of old infrastructures are located, especially temples and such, have seen quite a bit of flood water. And obviously for this year, very luckily there has been a report of the all the dike has been put up already to make sure that those, especially the World Heritage ones, are safe and there's no flood water. However, around the area in Pratakon Sri Ayutthaya province, you can still see quite a bit of flooding. And the thing is, there has been a report of a lot of the monks as well as the novice that have to actually raise the flood water to go and receive an alms from all the because don't forget they still have to go out and obviously do their chores and such, and this is one of the thing that they have to do.
Being a monk, they cannot just keep their food overnight.
No,
it's part of the things or man as a monk.
You can imagine like how difficult that is.
Yeah.
Having said that, there has been a report at this point that there has been a talk. Just moving on, as you can see there, this is actually has been erected in order to save a lot of the temples around the area from actually being flooded, especially the Chai Wattanaram temple around Pompet area, fort, where the Sinpakon, the fine arts departments actually went in and make sure that that's in place. However, in Bang Ban district, Wat Ampawa was actually inundated. A lot. We're talking about over 1 meter high flood water. So a lot of the monks in the temple has to move to Ko Pai temple, and that's still quite a bit difficult for them as well. Now, there has been quite a few protests apparently, especially in Prachin Buri province, Kabin Buri district, where there are people, about 50 of the villagers that came in and trying to ask for the sluice gates in the area, 3 of them, to actually open up because at this point they create quite a bit of a problem for the villagers because the province tried to close these down to save the Prajantakam district as well as Si Mahapo district, where there are a lot of agricultural lands. So they make sure that they're not flooded. However, at this point, yesterday at about 4 o'clock, finally 4 hours after the gathering, Kun Papasop Surasawadi, the Deputy Prime Minister, went in and talked to the villagers and finally were able to ask them to disperse. And they opened the sluice gates for 30 centimeters just to see, just to ease their pain a little bit there. But whether or not this is going to help in the long run, that we're going to have to wait and see. And another case where there's a protest is in Ang Thong province, where 50, once again, of the villagers went to demand that the Khön Bang Kaew sluice gates or Bang Kaew Dam sluice gates be open because they say that at this point it creates quite a bit of a problem already, and there was 3 sluice gates altogether. None of them were actually open because obviously the province tried to save a lot of agricultural lands on the other side of the city. But at this point they say that they open it up for 10 centimeters, but like I said, they still have to wait and see whether or not that could actually be done, or whether or not they could open it even further. Now, having talked about that, there are several of the waterfalls that you should not visit. I would say that refrain from getting to the waterfall altogether, because at this point, obviously, this is not one of the things that you want to visit.
True.
Not at this time.
True.
Because we're talking about flash floods that would come down pretty hard, especially, for example, in the Saraburi province, there's 7 สาวน้อย waterfall, which is one of the biggest and most the biggest attraction that we have.
There were a group of tourists stranded every year at that waterfall.
Exactly.
Every year.
And Pa La U waterfall as well in the Phetburi province, as well as in Kamphaeng Phet province. Klong Lan waterfalls has been asked not to be visited because at this point they have to close it down to make sure that this will actually not creating more problem, because obviously it's going to be hard for the rescue team to go in and help you as well. As you can see, it's just not easy, and sometimes we have seen too many of the life being lost for no good reason whatsoever. So refrain from waterfalls at this point. Right.
And also don't let your children play
exactly, because
around flood water area.
Yeah, there has been report of a lot of drowning in children as well. So, be very, very careful at this time of year.
Another alarming issues.
Right, very alarming.
This is involve education of Thai kids. So far, when we talk about education, we like to focus on English language.
Right.
But this time it's
worse.
It's worse. Yesterday, the Education Ministry by the Office of the Basic Education came out. Dr. Chinapat Phumratana, the Secretary General of the Office of Basic Education, has announcement on the result of the test that the ministry has sent out to 183 districts around the country. They haven't get all the results back yet. This is like the test that every kid will have to take just to measure their ability to read and write. So only 80 district result from 80 district came back. Just a little over half of all the students taking the test. The test was taken between 9th to 20th of September, so just this year, and the results alarming enough. For the 3 graders in Thailand, which is about, I would say, not even 10, like 9 years old, about 8 or 9 years old kid. Actually, about 8% of them is illiterate, which is mean they cannot read and write. So it's about right now 800,000. This is a result from about 800,000 kids. So about 64,000 of them of the 3 grader cannot read and write.
So this is not like a survey per se, but it is a test that has been done by the Office of Basic Education Commission.
Yes, the Education Ministry. Actually, this is a good initiative.
Right.
Yes, OBEC want to have this done so they can group the kids that have trouble read and write, and
which is good. We need assessment. We need assessment.
And also the 6th grader, the result is 4% of the 6th grader also illiterate, which is about 32,000 of them unable to read and write. It's a little less in numbers,
right?
So it shows maybe in those 3 years they're able to improve themselves. The last 3 years of the elementary school, but it's still alarming anyway because.
Right. But the good thing, I think, is that this commission was erected so that they could look after the assessment, and they look at the assessment nationwide, obviously, look after a lot of the ONET, ANET too, I believe. So at this point,
and this
assessment is better than none.
Yes, we're talking about all these kids that has been through at least 7 or 8 years of schooling. But this is like from all over the country.
Right.
So what Education Ministry or OBEC under Education Ministry trying to do is they will set up some course to help with the ability of this particular group of students that didn't pass the test. And this project supposed to be ongoing from November this year until February next year. So this, I would say this is a really good initiative that they have done.
Right, and I have to say, OBEC, or the Office of Basic Education Commission, they have been quite active. They have been quite active because we have seen, I think we report about this before, about how they are trying to create an assessment with, different models that reach or meet at least the international standard. I think they call, like, there was like PISA or PISA, and there are other models as well to assess the education level of the children, not just in terms of reading and writing, but also critical thinking as well. So hopefully we're gonna see a little bit more, because that's kind of alarming / embarrassing.
First step of solution is to realize there is a problem.
Exactly.
And so this is a good thing.
Apparently we do now, so let's do something about it. All right, now one thing that will be done, and today already, is the fact that the subsidies for all the rubber price farmer, the registered
rubber farmers.
Yeah, rubber farmers are actually will be given to them today, starting today, but only the registered one. At this point, they say that there's only about 50 of the people that were supposed to be registered actually registered themselves, and there's still a lot more. So the government is encouraging all the farmers out there, if you would like the subsidies, obviously at this point the government cannot guarantee, like you requested, 120 baht per kilogram. That's a little bit much for them, but at this point the compensation will be given for the 2,520 baht
for the fertilizer.
For the fertilizer, and the money will be deposited directly into the account of all the farmers, and they will actually have all the personnel in place to make sure that this will be done for them, plus the ATM machine on site.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, because obviously they're trying their best to, I guess, win them over, because at this point, the Kwan Nong Hong intersection, that's still there.
But I guess the problem is still there, because a lot of farmers don't really have the deed of the land, so they cannot really register.
Right, but that's going to be, another issue to revisit. But at this point, they say that this particular decision is so that the government will be able to obviously pay money, about 21.2 billion baht altogether, directly to the farmer's bank account. And this is already increased from what they have talked about, because this is like double the price. Remember, it first came out only 1,000 by
1,200 something.
Exactly. So at this point, they increase it up so that is create a little bit more satisfaction, I guess. At this point, this is going to be at Ron Pibun district center. They say, however, interestingly enough, they say that at first they're going to be at Chawat district center, but they say that the police were worried that there might be a little bit more difficult to control the crowd.
Because it's right at the protest
site. Exactly. So they decided to went to Ron Pibun instead. So you might see a little bit of the traffic around the area. At this point, they say that they were trying their best to accommodate everyone, all the farmers, but they still say that they will be able to, at this point, release about 20% of the 20% of the people that registered for today. Not for everyone just yet, because obviously there was like about 50% of the farmers has already registered themselves. But as for today, they believe that they probably will be able to at least giving it to 20 of those. And these are probably will be about around 20% that will come in and register themselves and receive the money for today. And this is going to be in Surat Thani as well as Nakhon Sawan as well. As for the place where to go instead of the Nakhon Si Thammarat, that we're not sure. It hasn't been reported, but apparently at Kwan Nong Hong intersection, the police are still hoping that the protesters will actually disperse soon, because obviously at this point everything has been kind of negotiated already. But they say that the difficult part about this particular protest to actually be dispersed is that the fact that they don't have a clear leader to actually negotiate. So even if there's some kind of solution came up or negotiation that concluded, it's still not satisfied by all.
I think one of the reasons that they demand the price guarantee rather than the subsidy, because a lot of the farmers that don't own the land, they actually get money, earn money from selling this rubber, and they will divide the revenue with the owner of the land like in half.
Right.
So if you do the subsidy like this, the owner of the land will get the money, but not necessarily that the farmer themselves that do all the hard work will get part of the money.
So, you know, at this point, there also has been a talk about the whole thinking that there might be some big company behind it as well, but that still has to be under investigation. It's still just a rumor, so don't look too much into it. That's what they come out and say. All right.
Another issue that involve a lot of money. Today, the Budget Bureau will will submit to the cabinet to authorize almost 4 billion budget just to be incentive for the Thai, what's it called?
Civil servants.
Civil servants, for the Thai civil servants, close to 4 billion baht. And 1.4 of those will be specifically for bonus. And another about 2 billion of those money will be the adjustment of incentive for the government employees or civil servants. This will be on the table today, so we will know in late afternoon whether it passed, but my guess is it will pass. See, the Office of the Public Sector Development Commission has talked about a little detail of this almost 4 billion baht bills that will the budget that will ask for today. Besides the bonus, they talk about all these government employees. To get this bonus, they have to pass the assessment, which is each year they will have some kind of assessment, and they just set the number that it have to get the score of 3.000 for anyway. So just to get this bonus, which doesn't have any binding or any condition after that. And they also talk about the money, the budget that all these government units receive. This is also involved in educational institution also that owned by government. Any budget that is still left over from last year, they're asking all these institutions to, they have to do some kind of process to get the money back, and all this leftover money they will use it to be another part as a prize money for the management and operational staff that has really good work result, which the Comptroller General department will be the one that do the assessment and giving out this prize money.
Right. So
money issues.
Right. And hopefully this will encourage civil servants to maybe work a little harder.
Some
becomes
of
a
them
little bit more active.
Well, if you call it a whole bunch, there might be some part that you're not too impressed, but there's a lot of hardworking ones.
Yeah, there are. But, you know, don't forget, at this point, I think that it's a good thing, because obviously you have to at least be satisfied and knows that your job is, you know, actually appreciated. And what a better way to, show your appreciation than giving them money. So, or increase.
Yes.
So at this point, it's probably going to be better. Plus, you know, a lot of everything increased at this time. So
yeah, living expense getting higher, so it would help anyone to earn a little more.
All right, good news. Okay, let's take a short break, because we have a little bit more information on the political side, including the fact that the Democrat Party seems to come up with another projects just to, you know, competing with the government with the whole 2.2 trillion baht budget.
And also the government it's time to just send in the yearly report by the government.
Stay tuned.